Hi guys, it's Rebecca Coomes from The Healthy Gut. Today's recipe is absolutely delicious and it's something that is sure to impress your guests. It's my chocolate and mandarin tart. Let's get started. All we need to do first is get the base going because that needs to sit in the fridge and chill while we make the filling. I have 1 cup of macadamia nuts. To that, I'm going to add 50 grams of slightly melted butter. Now, if you can't tolerate butter or you're not at that stage in your treatment yet where you can reintroduce dairy, by all means use 50 grams of coconut oil or an oil that you know you can tolerate. So we'll just pop that in there. And to that, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of raw cacao powder. I like to use the raw cacao because it hasn't been heat treated. It means we get all the wonderful properties from the chocolate. And then I'm adding about half a teaspoon of natural stevia. And as you can see, this is green. It is literally just the ground up stevia leaves. So it adds a nice sweetness, but it doesn't contain any sugar. All we need to do now is give this a blitz until it is well combined. Okay, so I have blitzed that up so the crumbs are just really fine. I don't want big lumps of nuts in this. And in a pre-greased loose bottom flan tin, and you want something that where the bottom actually lifts out because it makes serving so much easier. All you need to do is pop this mixture into the bottom and then flatten it out. I've covered the sides and base of the flan tin and I'm going to pop this in the fridge for about half an hour until it is feeling nice and firm. The next step is to make the filling while the base is chilling in the fridge. And this is super easy as well. I love this dessert. It looks delicious, but it is so easy to make. All I need to do to make the filling is I've got 1 ripe avocado, so I just scoop the flesh into the bowl of my food processor. To the avocado, I'm going to add 1 cup of coconut milk. Now this coconut milk doesn't contain any thickeners or binders, and if you can tolerate coconut products, it makes this dessert lovely and creamy, and you'd never know that there was no dairy in it. I'll also then add half a cup of honey. So obviously use honey at your discretion. If you can't tolerate honey, but you can tolerate all the other ingredients in this recipe, by all means swap it for stevia so it doesn't bother you. Honey is high in fructose, so it can be problematic for people with a fructose intolerance. I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla powder, and that is literally just vanilla beans that have been ground up. And then I'm going to add the final thing, which is a 1/4 cup of raw cacao powder. And we'll pop that straight in the container. And all we need to do is give this a really good blitz so that it goes nice and creamy. So I've been whipping that now. I've given it a good couple of whips and then stirs in between, and it has turned it into quite a lovely sort of glossy mousse. I've got a little contraption for this food processor that I'm going to use, and by all means, if you have a device like this, give it a shot. It just takes your mousse to a completely new level. I have this attachment blade that instead of just being for the normal whipping, it actually is for egg white whipping, and then it looks like this, and it just whips and aerates the mousse. So once you've got all the lumps and bumps out of it, I really recommend doing this final stage. Okay, so I'll give this another minute whipping and it will just be so light and fluffy. Right, this has been whipping now and it is just kind of this lovely, gorgeous, silky mousse, which is great. Look at that, doesn't that look great? Now I've pulled my flan out of the fridge because it has now set, and all we need to do is pop the filling into the flan and we will put that back in the fridge and we'll let that set a little bit more before we add the chocolate topping. One of the last steps we need to do now for this tart is to make the chocolate topping, which, like all the other steps, is super easy. Now I have got half a cup of coconut oil, which I've melted so it's nice and liquefied. And to that, I'm going to add in half a cup of raw cacao powder, and I've also got about a teaspoon of natural stevia. So I'm going to put about half of that in to start with, and then we're going to sift it all into the coconut oil so we don't get any lumps. And the reason why I like to add the stevia as I go is that sometimes it's sweet enough and I don't need to add any more. Other times it doesn't seem to be as sweet for me and I want to put a little bit more in. And the final thing that I like to add is about 2 tablespoons of coconut milk, and that just adds a little bit of extra creaminess to the chocolate topping. We'll just give this a nice stir so that all the chocolate and the stevia and the coconut milk are nicely combined. And then we're going to pour it back onto the tart, put it back in the fridge and let it to continue to set. So we'll just give this a quick stir. You want to make sure that all the lumps are out of the cacao powder. Whilst we did sieve it in, there's obviously a chance for lumps to still form, and you don't want that. You want it to be nice and smooth when people are biting into it. So that's looking really lovely and glossy now. And we literally just pour this all over the top. And it is absolutely delicious. And then this topping sets super quickly. So providing that the rest of the base and the filling have already set, you will actually be able to serve this in probably about 10 minutes. Okay, doesn't that look gorgeous? Alrighty, we've got our flan. It's ready to just finish setting, and then we'll come back and I'll show you a little trick that I like to add to my flan that just takes it to the next level. I'll see you soon. Hi everyone, so the tart has been in the fridge now for a couple of hours, and as you can see, I'm here with my friends and we're having a dinner party, and I wanted to show you how it comes out and what I love to do to just do something a little bit different to just a standard chocolate tart. So hopefully without ruining the crust, there we go, came out all right. You just want to slice some pieces, and I love at this time of year adding a few little segments of mandarin to it because it just adds a really lovely little zesty pop to the quite intense chocolate flavour. Now you don't need much. This will serve about 16 people, so just thin slivers of tart is all you need because it's very rich. And my trusty taste testers here are going to tell us what they think about it. So normally what I'd recommend is you leave the tart out of the fridge for probably about 10-15 minutes just so that the top will get a little softer so you can cut through it. I've just literally pulled this out of the fridge so it's cracking everywhere. What do we think, guys?
Right.
Is it good?
Yep.
And the verdict is so my friends don't have SIBO, and what I absolutely love when I'm cooking for my friends is I still cook my SIBO meals. This recipe is out of the Family Favourites cookbook, so all my recipes in that book really are meals that you can make for friends and family and anyone with SIBO. If you've liked today's video, click like, and if there's anything else you'd like me to make SIBO friendly, pop them in the comments below. I'm Rebecca Coomes with my wonderful friends, and until next time, happy cooking.